Someone once shared Someone shared once that, hey, he applied for a job and he got rejected in less than a minute. As it was like as soon as he clicked on apply, he immediately got rejected. And we're just talking, everyone was talking about it, just chipping in on how ridiculous it is. Maybe these people aren't really recruiting. Maybe this job is false. Maybe it's fake or something. But the reality is it was a real job. What rejected that person was ATS, an automated tracking system. That was what got the person kicked out before the person's resume could even get to the desk of a real person. So we see this happen every day. You're looking for a job, but you just don't have what it takes. You don't have the know-how. It's not like the skills are in there. The skills are there, but the know-how on how to navigate the job market, because the job market on its own requires a different level of skills. Aside from, hey, I have the skills to do the job, but then the job market, applying for a job, I always say applying for a job is a job on its own. So for the next hour, I want you to operate from a mindset of possibilities. If you have experienced this letdown, this disappointment over and over again, I want you to make a shift today with me and explore, what if it's possible? Open your mind and imagine, what if it was possible to live the life that you have always wanted? What if it's possible for you to break into tech without breaking your back and without breaking the bank? What if it is possible for you to make a smooth transition from wherever it is you are to wherever you need to be? Now, that's the main question that I put forward to you today. And I want you to carry this as we go along. What if it is possible? Now, today's session is a practical, no-nonsense masterclass. We're going to go straight to the point. We are going to break down the exact playbook that has helped many people. I'm going to be sharing their stories as we go along. But some of my favorite stories, some of my favorite testimonials include people like Judith, who was working as a carer in the UK, and how we took her from that to landing a job as a business analyst working in the UK for a US company, so fully remote. How did Judith go from being a carer to making a transition into business analysis, all in a couple of months, by the way? How did someone like Christian, who, by the way, is 18 years old with no degree and no experience, how did this person make a transition to becoming a data analyst just 4 months after starting with Tenalytics? So how did this happen? How did all of these people achieve all these amazing results? They did it by understanding the one thing employers in the UK, in the US, and in Canada are actually paying for. And I'm going to give you a spoiler alert before we go on. It is not a list of software skills. You don't have to be technical. You don't have to know how to code. It's solutions, value, business outcomes. It's the ability to walk in and fix an expensive problem on day one. These days, companies are looking for people who can solve their problems. Picture this: you are a business owner. What is your number one priority? Your number one priority is to make money. And that is exactly what businesses are looking for. So if you can be that person who can walk in, regardless of what you're doing, you're in cybersecurity, you're a data analyst, you're a project manager, you're a product designer, the core of what the business wants to do, the reason why that business exists, is to solve problems. And if you, as an employee or a candidate, is able to prove and demonstrate that you can bring that to the table, you will break through the barriers that keep people back in this aspect. So for the next hour, I'm going to show you how you can repackage everything you probably already know, from talking about what you did to showcasing what you can solve. But before we get started, I want to get a real sense of who is in this room with me today. So I would like you to type your first name into the chat. And then think about it. What brought you here? Why are you here? If you saw Analytics through maybe an ad, or it was your friend who referred you, your mom, your sister, your brother, something brought you here. If it was an influencer, but then there was a reason why you said, I'm going to sign up for this masterclass and I'm going to show up today. So are you looking for a job? Are you looking to make a transition to break into tech? Have you been applying and getting no response? I would like you to share that in the chat. Share it with us. Why are you here today? Why are you here? Okay, I'm seeing Kingsley, Collins, Adarin Sola. Okay, Kingsley is asking a question. Please, is this webinar for beginners? It's actually my first time here. Yes, it's for beginners. So you don't have to be an expert in tech. Ike Chukwu, Alan, fantastic. I'm looking for a job and I am also new to the UK. That's Collins. Philippa. Okay, nice to meet everyone here. If you could just follow up with why are you here today? What is that goal that you're looking to accomplish? Because I know that you don't just get a gathering of adults like this and everybody's here to just waste their time. There is something that brought you here. Brandy, I want to transition from a current care job to a tech-related job with sponsorship. You're in the right place, Brandy. This is the best place for you to be. We have so many people that we've taken from care and we've helped them transition into amazing careers where they're doing fantastic for themselves now. Bernard, I just want to improve my skills as a nurse. We have Apple phone. I'm a software developer from Nigeria and I'm new to the UK. You're a software developer, which means that you're already leaning towards the tech aspect very strongly. This is a skill that you can build up of. So we have a lot of amazing people in the room today. I just want you guys to just take a look at all this explosive potential that is sharing this room with us today. Amazing. So you are not alone. There are a bunch of people who are looking to transition into tech. A bunch of people like you who already have, they know this is what my goal is, but I just need someone to show me the way. And this is why I'm going to ask you to do me a favor, everyone here. I want you to think of one person, someone you know. It could be your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, but this person wants, you know that this person is as ambitious as you are. You know that this person has what it takes for them to break into tech, but they just haven't found the right pathway for them to do it. They don't have a guide for it. And you're here today. This is part of what we're going to be breaking down. So I would like you to share this link with them and get them to come in. Let's take a break from sharing reels and the Instagram skits and on TikTok skits and actually share something that they can benefit from. We're getting into 2026. We only have a couple of weeks before it's a new year. So for all the people who like to say, I'm starting a new year resolution, or you know someone who likes to do that, send this to them. They're going to thank you later, trust me. Now, finally, before we move ahead, my team will be sharing an attendance form in the chat. You totally have to fill this out. This is how you're going to get access to the recording of this session. And then it's also how you're going to get access as well to the slides that I'll be sharing. So if you want to take your time and look through it and really digest the information that I'll be sharing today, you totally have to fill that out. Otherwise, we have no way of getting your email or sending it to you. So in case you drop off, there's a network problem or something, it would be great for you to have that. So fill out the form now while you have the time. Okay, so housekeeping is done. Let's get into it. Fantastic. Now, let's get into the how. How does this actually work? How can 10 Analytics support me in my career? How do you take me from where I am now to where I need to be? Now, the internet is full of courses. You can go on YouTube and learn Python for free. You can get a certificate from a dozen different platforms. So why are you still struggling to get a job? With all of this information that we have out in the world today, and it's just free of charge, why do we have some people here like Collins who is looking for a job? Why? This is because Learning the skill is only 30% of the battle. I like to look at, job hunting as a battlefield because it literally is a battle. It is 30% when you learn the skill. The real challenge, which is 70%, is where a lot of people fail at. How do you prove to someone in London? How do you prove to someone in Toronto? How do you prove to someone in Berlin that you are a fantastic hire? How do you tell them that you can do the job when your last role was in a completely different field or a completely different country? And you see, the thing with the West is that they will constantly look for people who already have experience within their culture, within their context, because it's so much easier for the business. Put yourself, I always tell people who are job hunting, put yourself in the shoes of a business owner. When it comes to job hunting, come at it from an empathy perspective. As a business owner, what would I prioritize? What do I want my candidates to have? And for a lot of these businesses, the reason why you would keep on sending your applications and you would not be getting responses is because you have just not shown them that you can bring what they require to the table. That is the 70%. The 70% gap, that proof is the entire focus of 10 analytics. That is exactly why we exist. Now, we have helped 3,000 people, over 3,000 people. I want you to focus on that number. Over 3,000 people. That's over 3,000 lives that we have impacted. Now, I need you to really see the faces behind this number. I'm going to be sharing some stories as we go on. But like I mentioned earlier, there's Judith, who was a carer. She's now a business analyst for a US company. And, she had like a HR background. She moved, she was confused. And then before you know it, she was in care work and she's thinking, I don't want to be here. I have way more experience. And we gave her the guides that she needed for her to truly step into her potential. There's Hope, who was in Canada, who had all the skills that she needed, but she was lacking in the experience aspect. And this is why I said we are here to provide that proof for you. Learning the skill is probably like the easiest part of it. The 70% gap, that is where a lot of work is. So how did these people cross the gap? People like Judith, like Hope. It's because we built a bridge with two solid pillars. Now, the first pillar is we teach you what the market is buying, not just what it's teaching. Now I'm talking about data analytics, DevOps, cybersecurity. These are roles that are in high demand. We did not just sit down and come up with, use guesswork to say, hey, we do think that this would be a fantastic career pathway. We did this with data to say, we think that this would be amazing. Or the data is saying this is what people are hiring for, what employers are hiring for right now. And this is a career pathway you are assured to get a job in. And then the second pillar is what that changes everything, where we help you build a body of evidence. Even on the teaching aspect, you also have experts who would walk through with you, people who have worked at the highest level, McKinsey, Amazon, Microsoft, and these are the kind of jobs, the kind of companies that you're applying to. So they've already walked this path, and for them it's, hey, how do I help you reach this level as well? How do I equip you with the knowledge that you need for you to reach this level? Now, that is the 10 analytics difference. So we stop you from being just another resume in the pile, and we turn you into a candidate that has proof. So you walk into an interview and you're able to say, I did not just learn it, I have actually done it. I'm sure that in your journey, you must have come across maybe Coursera, you must have come across Udemy, you must have come across a bunch of online learning platforms. But what makes up the difference between 10 analytics and all of these guys is everything I just walked you through. It's the first pillar and it is the second pillar. We complement your learning with what we call employability skills. And we're going to talk more about that as we go along. So what I'm going to show you in the next couple of minutes is exactly how this system works to get you from where you are to where you need to be. Now you might be wondering, who is this woman and why should I listen to her? That is a fair question. For over 10 years, my entire career has been about one thing: finding talented people and building the systems that helps them win. I have been on both sides of the table. I have recruited, I have been recruited, I have scanned resumes to find the best hires, and my resume has been scanned to decide whether or not I was the best hire. So I have perspective on both ends. I've been head of operations at a fintech. I've been head of product growth at an e-commerce company, chief operations officer, etc. But really, what does this mean for you? Because that is why you are here today. It means, like I said before, that I haven't just been in the rooms where hiring decisions are made. I've also been the person running that room. I have personally scrutinized lots of resumes, led hundreds of interviews, and made the final call on who gets the offer and who doesn't. So I know the exact moment a hiring manager's eyes lights up when they think they found the perfect candidate, because that's happened to me before. More importantly, I know the exact unspoken reasons why, even though you seem like you're a good fit on paper, why they decide to pass up on you. I've seen brilliant people get overlooked, and not for a lack of skill, but because they didn't know how to position their experience as the solution to a problem. Now, that's the gap I am dedicated to closing. At 10 Analytics, my entire focus is building the systems that turn carers into people who are equipped to transition into tech, people like you. I also, I would like to pose this question to everyone here on the call today. If you're here and you're wondering, why should I listen to Lola? I think the real question is, why shouldn't you listen to me, especially if you're serious about getting into tech now that 2026 is around the corner? So the question I would like us to ask ourselves as we move along is, am I ready to break into tech? Am I ready to take my career by the horns and charge in 2026? Because it's just like a couple of weeks away. And this is the best time for you to start putting a plan together and saying, this is how I want to attack my career and the things I want to achieve in my career going into 2026. Now let's move along. Let's look at a will. This is a will of frustration from a job hunter's perspective, a will of frustration. Now, I'm going to walk you through this will, and I want you to tell me if this feels familiar to you. You find a job that you like. You open the description, and what's the first thing that you see? Minimum 5 years of experience. And then you scroll down, expert in Python, in SQL, in Power BI. And then the list just goes on and on and on and on and on. And then that voice in your head starts asking you or starts telling you, I'll probably never find a job. If this goes on, I will probably never find a job in this economy. Now, I know that voice. Everyone here most likely has heard that voice. It's the voice of sending out 500 applications, 50 applications, and getting 499 silences, and maybe one automated rejection. It's the voice that makes you question everything that you know. And this will, it is a machine that is designed to make you feel like you are not enough. And if you experience this, I wouldn't say it's a fantastic thing, but you're not the only person who has gone through this. There are lots and lots of forums dedicated to people who are looking for jobs and who have just experienced this thing where they just keep applying and applying, but no one is responding. And it seems like, maybe it's just me. You go on LinkedIn, and every time you log into LinkedIn, you're seeing someone share a good news. Hey, everyone, I just got a new job. I'm one of the big tech companies. I've been employed by Meta. I've been employed by Amazon. And you're thinking, oh, but what about me? Don't I matter? What's going on with my application? And that's exactly why we are here today. This is a will that we are going to dismantle, and then we're going to give you a playbook that would help you win in this market. Now, I want you to flip the script for a second. Flip the script and look at it from the employer's perspective. And this is why I said at the start, when it comes to job hunting. One of the best ways that you can job hunt, one of the winning strategies is for you to put yourself in the shoes of the recruiter or the shoes of the employer. Now, in the employer's wheel of frustration, they're thinking, what proof does this candidate have? Can they deliver from day one? Will this candidate add value? We need a problem solver. I remember I said this before. For businesses, one thing that matters to them is, can you come in on day one and solve my problem? Can you add value to my company? Because trust me, nobody's going to employ you because they like you. No one is going to employ you because they think you have a nice voice. It's not going to happen. People are going to employ you because they believe that you can add value to their company. That is what matters. Can you prove if you actually have the value? Can you prove that you have the value? Can you deliver from day one? Or are you the kind of candidate who would need hand holding? And in a case where you need hand holding, it's now a question of how much time and resources can this company sink into supporting you. For the recruiters, for the employers, they're not sitting there and celebrating a long list of requirements. They're not happy that they have to put out these long list of requirements. They are stressed. They have a problem. They have a project that is behind, a system that is broken, a budget that is bleeding, and their job is to find somebody ASAP who can fix it. Now they're staring at a stack of 100 resumes, all of them saying things like, Python, SQL, Power BI, but they're thinking to themselves, who can actually solve my problem? Now, this line in the mid, this one here is the killer. I'll never find a good hire in this market. The search is endless. So all the while you're thinking to yourself, am I not good enough? For employers and recruiters, and if there's anyone here who has experience recruiting, you would understand what I'm saying. You're also thinking to yourself, I need to find someone fast. What's going on? This market is messed up. You're drowning in a list of applicants who just seem like they do not fit the bill or who cannot communicate properly that they do. Now, this is why I mentioned at the start that I want you to lock in a mindset shift. Your battle is not against other candidates. Your battle is against the hiring manager's doubt. It is against the employer's doubt. Your job isn't to prove that you have skills. Your job is to prove that you are the solution. That is one of the mindset shifts that I would like you to lock in today. How do you prove that you are the solution? So now we have two frustrated wheels spinning against each other. Let's connect them. We're going to do that in our short time today. But and just to break down all the things that you would be walking away with, first, we will identify the 3 things employers in the UK, in US, and in Canada truly value. And it's not what you think. And it's the same across all countries because guess what? Like I said, for any business that exists, the goal is to make money. That is the goal for every business that exists. Then we're going to get inside the employer's head. We'll identify exactly what they are looking for in a candidate before they even decide to hire them. And then next, we are going to build your entire job search strategy from the ground up. This is not about, spamming applications and applying for a job, applying for 20 jobs a day and then just throwing out generic applications. We're going to be working together to design a strategy for you that works. And finally, I will show you how you can bypass the ATS filters, the robot gatekeepers. So a human being actually sees your application and can go, finally, this is the candidate I've been waiting for who can solve all my problems and get me out of this job hunt, this candidate hunting game. This is the exact roadmap that has worked for thousands of people at 10 Analytics. If you recall, over 3,000 people have benefited from this. And right now, it is your turn. So let's get started. Okay, let me ask you a question that probably keeps you up late at night. You see a job that you want, you meet 90% of the requirements, you hit submit, and then nothing happens. Why does that happen? Now, let me show you something. So on one side, we have what we call the technician. The technician is someone who says things like, I know Python, I know SQL, I know Power BI, and their focus is on tools and technologies, right? Tools, and they're saying, oh, I know how to, you know that in your resume where you write, you list out all of the tools that you know how to use and all the tools you're proficient with, that is their entire focus. You know, I was in an interview one time and I asked the candidate, I said, why do you think we've spoken to a lot of fantastic candidates, by the way, with very impressive profiles, very impressive portfolios. What is that thing that makes you stand out, that makes you different? Why do you think we should hire you? What are we going to be missing out on if we go with someone else? And this person said, oh, I know how to use Excel. I know how to do data analytics. So that makes me like a top tier candidate because, you know, for this, nobody would, it was just like a bunch of tools. And then I asked someone else, I've rarely gotten people who have answered that question very well, by the way. But then I asked someone else that question the same day. And he said to me, he said, so I optimized blah, blah, blah in this at warehouse and in the warehouse and logistics. I improved their processes by 20%. And I said, okay, how did you get 20%? And he said, this was because this process was broken and da, 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 da. And then based off our efficiency score and based off where the department was at and where we were at by the time I implemented this new flow, this is how it was amazing. I don't think anyone has ever answered that question properly. And this is why I said a technician will focus on tools and technologies. And the result is they get lost in the pile. So even though you get that interview, when you speak to a recruiter, you don't impress them. It's just generic stuff that they've probably heard before. But then on the other side, we have what I call the problem solver. The problem solver is a person who would come in and say things like, I use data to reduce ops cost by 15%. Do you see the shift between I know Python, I know SQL, I know Power BI to I used data to reduce ops cost by 15%? That is a significant shift. So the hiring manager is not about reading a list of softwares. They are reading a solution to their biggest headache. The problem solver doesn't just have skills, they have value. And because of that, they don't just get an interview, they get the interview. They are more likely to get a job. So which person do you want to be? Picture yourself. Which person do you want to be? Do you want to be the technician or do you want to be the problem solver? I would like you to share that in the comment section. Who do you want to be? The technician or do you want to be the problem solver? Let's see if you guys are following me so far. Do you want to be the technician who says, oh, I know how to use this tool. I can use PowerPoint. I can use Word. I can use a workspace, Google Workspace. Or I can use Microsoft. I can use ETL. Or do you want to say, this is the impact that I drove in this company? Because now exactly, Ikenna, problem solver, Busola, the problem solver, Kingsley, problem Oyindamola, problem solver, Uzochukwu, I want to be a, thank you. So like I said, picture yourself as always approach the hiring or the job hunting game with empathy, and it would be very easy for you to figure these things out. As a business owner, the person that you would employ, the person that you would know for sure would bring value to your business is someone who can communicate how they have used certain tools to impact the business's bottom line. And this is why you need to be on the side. You need to be a problem solver. Now, let's talk about the $1 million question. The $1 million question. How do you magically transform your knowledge of Python, your knowledge of Asana, your knowledge of AI into a story about saving a company 15%, into a story about impacting a company's bottom line? And this is one of the biggest hurdles people have. You would see people who have done really amazing things and they say things like, I don't know how to translate my experience into business impact or into business outcomes. And this is one of the biggest mistakes people make in their career. You're told you need more experience, but you can't get experience without the job. And then when you get the job, how do you translate how do you translate what you have done into a language that recruiters can understand? Now, let me be very clear. This is a world that keeps people, talented people, stuck for years. It keeps them stuck for years. So on the first aspect, you have skills, right? You maybe learn with Coursera, with Udemy or whatever, and then you've got all of these fantastic skills. But then you now have a problem in the gap of experience, right? You have to gain experience in order for you to be visible in the market. And then you start applying for jobs. You apply for one job, you get rejected. You apply for another job, you get rejected. I think you start thinking, what's going on? Could it be that maybe my profile is just not good enough? Maybe I need more certificates. And then you go into the market and you start getting more certificates. I've seen lots of talented people make this mistake over and over again. In fact, some people would relocate to a new country and they would think that the way for them to get in is for them to maybe go get another diploma. You're thinking, I need to get experience here. I need to go back to school. Recruiters do not care. Employers do not care about your certificate. Let's just lock that fact in right now. Recruiters, employers do not care about your fancy certificates. So you can go to Harvard for all they care. The only thing they care about is what we have established previously is value. That is all they care about. So some people would go back and collect more certificates, hoping that it's going to be enough, but then they never learn the art of translation. So they die on the heel of their skills, wondering why no one is coming to their rescue. The thing that the people who get jobs in 3 months know that the people who do not, it's that experience isn't about the time you have served in an office. It's about the problems you have solved. And it doesn't matter if you solved it for a Fortune 500 company or for a project in your training. What matters is that you can prove that you can solve that problem. Now, I want to introduce you to Hope. Hope did everything right. She got her project management certification. She got her Scrum Master certification. She was qualified. She was driven, and she was ready to work in Canada. And she kept on applying for jobs, but for months, nothing. Radio silence. Hope would look at her certificate on the wall and, she would think, what's the point? I have the skills, but why can't anyone see this? She was constantly getting rejected. Hope was the living, breathing example of the technician who was trapped in the loop, completely invisible to employers, because you're trying to impress employers with all your amazing skills. But for employers, they want to know that you are not a liability. They want to know that even though you know how to use these fantastic tools, that you have actually used this to solve a problem before. Now, in September of last year, she joined our Agile Project Management Program. But she didn't just come to get another certificate. This was the turning point for her. She came to learn the translation. So we did not just teach Hope the theory of Scrum. We helped her run real projects using Jira. We helped her create a portfolio that did not just say, I know how to use Agile, but instead showed, here is the project timeline I have managed. Here are the bottlenecks I uncovered. And here is how I increased team productivity. Now, this is something that employers are interested in seeing. So Hope stopped being a list of skills and she became a story of results. Now, the amazing part about Hope's story is that in just 3 months, in December 2024, she got a job as a project analyst. She broke the loop. She went from being completely invisible to having a sponsored career in Canada. Now, Hope's story is proof that the loop is a lie. That wheel of frustration, you can break it. The people who get these results, they are not luckier than you. They just have the blueprint. And that blueprint is what I am offering you today. Like I said, we've done this over and over again for thousands of people. In your journey to finding Analytics or to joining this masterclass session, you must have come across some videos on YouTube, some videos on Instagram, on LinkedIn. We have lots and lots of testimonials of real people like you and I. And you can always DM these people and say, hey, what was your experience with Analytics? And hear from the horse's mouth how their entire lives changed once they joined 10 Analytics. And you, whoever you are, you can totally be one of these people. So now I pose a very important question. What do employers want to see when they review your application? What is a hiring manager who is flooded with 300 applications? What are they looking for when they open your application, when they open your resume? What do they want to see? They are not looking for a list of your job duties. They already know what a data analyst does. They are looking for something much simpler, something much powerful. They are looking for proof. Proof that you will not be a risk, proof that you understand their problems, that you've done something like this before, proof that you can walk in and make an impact, not just complete tasks. So, for example, say Analytics was recruiting for a data analyst. We would put out a job description and most likely say we're looking for someone who has ed tech experience because Analytics is an ed tech. When NASA puts out a job description for a data analyst, it's completely different from what it would look like when Analytics puts out the same job application because NASA is not an edtech. And this is why it's so important that you are able to translate what your skills, translate your skills into experience and then say, so this is what I am experienced in, this is what I have done. Because being a data analyst is not good enough for some people. It's not good enough for companies, actually for job hunting. A lot of times employers will be looking for people who already have context in their industry. So if your resume makes it past the ATS, what they would now be looking for when it gets to the table of a hiring manager is, does this person have experience in my industry? So maybe you run an e-commerce store. And because you run an e-commerce store, you're thinking, I need a data analyst who can tell me who can provide me with insights on why my business is failing. You're not going to go hire a data analyst who maybe has only worked in maybe in hospitality or something. You would be looking for somebody who has experience with e-commerce because that person already understands the kind of insights that can help you drive or help you make business decisions. And that's why it is so important that when you are job hunting, that you do not skip over the part of reading the job descriptions. Always read job descriptions. And this is so that you can also tailor your application to that job that you are applying for. It is very important. Do not skip the process of reading the job description. We're going to talk more about this as we go along, but this is one of the biggest mistakes that people make when they are searching for jobs. Now, let's talk about the value of proof. I want you to picture this with me. Imagine with me. You want a wedding dress and a suit. So it's your wedding. It's the biggest, one of the biggest days of your life. And you need the perfect wedding dress and, or maybe a sharp tailored suit. Now you have two tailors that you're considering giving this contract to. Tailor A hands you a beautiful framed certificate from a tailoring school in Paris. And it says that they have completed the course, they know the theory. So you can tell that Tailor A went to one of the best schools, one of the best fashion schools in the world. And, this person obviously can do the job. And then you talk to Tailor B. Tailor B opens their portfolio and then shows you photo after photo of beautiful wedding dresses and suits that they've made for real happy clients. You can see the moment, a beautiful girl walks down the aisle in a dress that was made by the tailor. You can see the moment, a handsome man stands at the altar, in a beautiful suit that was made by this tailor. You can see that their friends were also dressed by this tailor. You can see beautiful dresses. Which one are you most likely to go with? That's the question I want to pose to the house today. Which one are you more likely to go with? Are you going to go with tailor A, or are you going to go with tailor B? I would like you to drop that in the chat, okay? iPhone said B, P said B, Busola said B, Sarah said B. Okay, everybody's saying B. Esther said B. But I want to know though, why? Of course, Taylor B, because she will actually showcase her work well. Interesting. Okay, does anybody else want to tell us why? Why? Taylor B, because I am rest assured of what I am looking for. Odulaja, fantastic. Yes. Thank you very much, Odulaja. Oindamola, experience and evidence of his work. Sarah, exactly. That is the point. So with Taylor B, you can see that this person has done the job before. There's a big difference between somebody who says, oh, look at my fantastic, amazing certificates, and someone who says, hey, I have done this job before, and this is what it looks like. It even gives you the opportunity to say whether or not you don't even like it. I don't like this one. Maybe I'll go for somebody else. But at least there's proof that this person has done the job. So when it comes to your career, a decision that defines your life, are you just handing employers your certificates? Where is your portfolio of real work? Now, this is just a scenario, and everyone here said they would go for Taylor B. So when you're creating your resume and you are adding all these certifications, or you are adding lots of certifications to your LinkedIn, or thinking, maybe I need to go get another certification. The question is, why exactly should employers care about your fancy certificates? They need to see what you have done. They need to see that you can bring value for their most important projects. They need to see that you've already built the wedding dress. They need to see what you can do. So keep that in mind as we go along. Now, I want to make something crystal clear. Experience is not about time that is served. It's about the projects delivered and problems solved. Let me repeat that. It's about the projects delivered and problems solved. So if you cannot showcase this, you are just a list of job duties in a sea of a million other identical lists. A lot of people are also listing out job descriptions. They're also saying, oh, I know this tool, or I know that tool. I have this skill, I have this certificate. Do you think you're the only one with a nice certificate from Coursera? There are so many people who are auditing their courses there and they have the same certificates. So why are you going to stand out? You are a commodity competing on price. You are Tailor A, hoping someone will take a chance on your certificates. But when you can show the projects that you've delivered and the problems you've solved, you become Tailor B. You become the obvious choice. Now you become the solution, not just an applicant. And I'm going to talk more about this as we go ahead. But then there are some people here who are already thinking, but I just thought to myself that tech would be really nice for me to go into. How in the world am I going to build experience? Now you're already saying things that is discouraging me, Lola. I don't have experience, don't worry. We're going to talk more about that as we go along. But before that, I want you to meet someone. One of my favorite stories of impact in Tenalytics, Judith. Judith was working as a carer in the UK, a demanding, noble job, but not the tech career that she wanted, not the career that she wanted for herself. Because back home, Judith already had a very strong background in HR in Nigeria, but that experience felt invisible in the UK job market. It was like she had to either go back to school for her to get something good, or she just wasn't standing out in the market. Judith was Taylor A. She had the underlying skills, but no one could see the wedding dresses that she could make. Now, I want to quickly address something here. There's something we call transferable skills. Transferable skills. And what that means is, even though you maybe were a construction worker, say you were a project manager for a lot of construction in the construction industry, for example, and then you're thinking about pivoting to tech. But then you're thinking the construction industry and tech are two very different career paths. Now I want to move to become a project manager in the tech world. So I really don't have experience in this. This is my first time. You're already selling yourself short. You are already selling yourself short because there's something called transferable skills. It means that any skill that you have today in your career, it is not a waste. Whatever it is, if it's maybe, for example, let's picture one of my favorite examples of a teacher. So you're a teacher in a school and you give one of your kids a lot of homework, and then the parent is very angry. So imagine that you're a parent as well, and then you're very angry. Why is my child getting so much homework? My child can't even sleep. So you go to the school and you start yelling at the teacher because you're upset. For 3 nights a row, your child has come home with so much homework. You're mad at this situation. And then the teacher says, I am so sorry about this. If you could just, okay, would you like me to get you water? Okay, just 1 minute. Let me explain why. Your child is blah, 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 blah. And this is the reason why. Oh, but I don't want my child to have so much homework. I completely understand. We can work together and design a learning plan that is suitable for your child. But I also want to make sure that we are supporting your child in his or her learning journey so they have all the tools and the resources and support that they need. So what you are doing now is what they call stakeholder management. You are managing a situation that could have quickly gone out of control. This is a transferable skill, but a lot of people do not know that. So imagine you're a teacher now, you're a teacher in, say, Nigeria, and you move to the UK. So you're thinking, I want to move into tech, but teacher and tech, where do they meet? What is the relationship between them? This is an example of a transferable skill. Now, in Judith's case, she was a HR. She already had the background, but the problem was that the market that she was in was not receptive to that because she did not know how to translate that. Now, in March 2024, Judith completed our business analysis program. Now, she did not just get a certificate, she built a portfolio. She worked on real case studies, and she could now finally show, not just tell, what she could do. Now, I want you to just stay with me while I say this. 3 months later, something super amazing happened. 3 months later, in July 2024, she landed a business analyst job for a US company, working remotely from her home in the UK. Judith made the move from a carer to a US-based business analyst in a matter of months. Judith didn't change who she was. She did not. It was the same person who was applying for other jobs and was getting rejected. She's the same person who was also doing care job just a few months ago. She's still the same person. The only thing that changed is her proof. She stopped showing her certificates and she started showing her capabilities. Judith transformed into Taylor B. Judith's story, her journey, is one of the living proof that this method works. And the only thing that is standing between you and Judith's result is the decision for you to build your skills and your proof. Now, you can also watch the interview with Judith. I don't want to play it because we don't have a lot of time and I want everyone to get value for their time here today. But this is part of why you need to fill out the attendance form that my colleagues are dropping in the chat section so you have access to this whenever you want it. Now, I want you to understand something very, very critical. The job market is currently shifting underneath our feet right now. By 2026, the roles that are safe, the roles that pay well, the roles that offer sponsorship, they will require a completely different set of skills. And this is not because people are trying to make it more difficult for a particular set of people. It's because business requirements are changing. A major study has revealed that nearly 4 in 10 companies are planning to replace their workers with AI. Let that sink in. It's not a future possibility. That is a current corporate strategy. They are not replacing people with robots, though. They are replacing people who have only technical skills with people who have strategic impact. And that is where you need to be. You need to be the person who leaves the technical department and who now complements it with strategy. You need to become someone who can add value. So the window to future-proof your career, that window is closing fast. I don't want to be a prophet of doom, but it is closing fast. The people who are securing their futures are the ones who are training for these roles, who are training for the new world today. They are the ones who are going to walk into 2026 with 2 years of experience in high demand areas, while everyone else is just starting to realize that, hey, I need to get moving. I need to get moving. And then these people who already started maybe this year already have a head start over everyone else. So you don't want to be one of these people who is missing out. Again, fill out the attendance form so you can check out some of these articles that are in this. But then I just want to quickly touch on this one, the top 5 skills that employers cannot ignore in 2026, just so that you can see that some of the things I've been talking about, adaptability, this is an article by Forbes, by the way. Adaptability in fast changing environment. This is a soft skill. Data literacy for smarter decision making, tech fluency beyond the basics, collaboration across culture and time zone, emotional intelligence for leadership and teamwork. Now, we can dive deep into all of this, but if you notice, it does have a persistent theme. Now, the idea is that the tech is already there. We know that the tech is there, but the people who can use this tech, the people who can complement the tech that exists to a certain level where they become beasts, the people who can create value, who can go above what is required of them and actually add value to the company's bottom line are the people who employers cannot ignore in 2026. It means that aside from focusing on skills or the technical aspect as we used to do it before, there is now something extra that you need to bring into the table. Because I'll tell you one thing, the roles that are repeatable, those roles that are heavily technical, those roles that are focused on, repeatable processes, those are the roles that are currently being automated away. Now, what are these life raft skills? What are these life raft skills? It's a trifecta, really. That's what I call it. And if you're missing out on even one, you are at a severe disadvantage. First, you must be a business translator. This is non-negotiable. You have to be the person who can sit in a meeting, hear the head of sales say, we are losing customers, and you immediately know how to use data to diagnose why and present a solution. You speak both business and tech. And, without this, you are just like an order taker. You're the kind of person who'll say, oh, go do this and go do that. And then those kind of people are being replaced very easily. As a matter of fact, those kind of people rarely have impacts to communicate on their resumes. And that's why I said, people are looking, companies are searching for people who can add value. These days, you can just pick up your phone and you have a conversation with ChatGPT. You give it a prompt and it responds. So if I can do that with ChatGPT and literally send ChatGPT on some errand and say, hey, generate this document for me and blah, blah. Why exactly should you keep someone who is not bringing something extra to the table? Why should you recruit someone who is not bringing something extra to the table? Now, second, companies are looking for a value creator. So companies are looking for a value creator. They do not pay for effort, they pay for outcomes. So when you say, I built a dashboard, that is completely worthless. You say something like, my dashboard identified a 20% inefficiency in the supply chain, saving $500,000 annually. This is what gets you hired and promoted. You must obsess over the bottom line. That is why I said, think in terms of value. Every company that exists today exists to make money. And your role is for you to figure out how exactly you can contribute to that. It doesn't matter how fancy their core values are. Every business exists to make money. And how can you, Priscilla, how can you, Collins, how can you, Uzochukwu, contribute to that? Now, third, a tech-savvy executor. You need the hard, modern skills to build the solution. But I want you to notice something. This is only like 1/3 of the equation. The technical aspect is not useless simply because we are saying that you have to be able to think about business outcomes. You have to think about value. You complement that with your ability to think about business outcomes. So the technical aspect is important, but if you focus on just that, you'll be losing out. Most courses, most boot camps only teach you this part, the tech savvy aspect. They give you the hammer, but they don't teach you where you can find the nail or how to charge for hitting it. And this is why their graduates struggle. You paid a lot of money, you've learned a fantastic new skill. Yeah, maybe there's space in the market for this new skill, but then you're confused. How do I communicate my value? I don't have the experience, even though I already have the skill, but nobody wants to hire me because everybody is saying, we need a data analyst who has nothing less than 2 years of experience. How do you break through this? We teach you all three. This complete package is what makes you unstoppable in the job market. The complete package, not one half of this, not two sides of it, but the complete package. Now, let's be brutally honest. If you are not getting offers, it is not a you problem, it's a strategy problem. And a broken strategy has a real tangible cost. Every week that you spend sending out generic applications is another week of lost salary. Let's do the math. If you want a job that pays $80,000 a year, every month your stock costs you over 6,500, I believe, in lost income every single month. So which means that you are losing money by delaying. You are literally funding your own unemployment with missed paychecks. So what is wrong with your current job search strategy? Let's first take a look at the 60-second ATS scan and what this means for your career. Now, the first thing is on the left side, generic responsibilities. So when you have your resume, I'm going to show you an example of a bad resume and a good resume in a minute. But then when you're putting your resume together, you want to say, this is what I did. Just let me show you something real quickly. So let's say you are looking for a job as a data analyst. Okay, so let's say you want to apply for this job. This is trusted house sitters, senior data analysts. Now, we look through the job description. This is really amazing. You think technical ownership, experimentation and testing, dashboards and reporting, cross-functional collaboration. And you're thinking, okay, this is really amazing. Now, for some people, what they would do is they would literally just take something like this and copy and paste in their resume. And then that is where you now get statements like develop scalable reporting and automation that improves processes and reduced manual efforts. this, it doesn't make sense. So, and that is why I said you want to think about how have you impacted a business? How have you created value for a business? Let's look at an example of a bad resume and a good resume. And I want you to spot a few things here. On this first side, where we have what a good resume looks like, the formatting is fantastic, but then it goes into details and talks about the value. For example, manage a cross-functional team of 10 in 3 locations. And then this resume goes on to list the locations and then said, ranging from entry-level analysts to vice presidents, and collaborated with business development, data analysis, operations, and marketing. Now, to a recruiter, this person is already thinking, wow, this person has vast experience. This person has managed people from entry-level positions to vice president. So which means that this person has range. This person is clearly at a high-level executive who is capable of driving impact from a high level. But then when you compare it to what we have on the other side, you just see like a one line, which is really not enough for you to communicate value. You want to communicate exactly what you have done and how you have driven impact. Now, notice that this person is not just going to copy some job description and then just like put their numbers here. So now as a hiring manager, I can tell that, this person managed a team of 10 people in 3 locations. You can also see achieves 200K reduction in department overspend by establishing ROI metrics and budget controls to improve prioritization of the $400 million department budget. So think about this. As a hiring manager, you're already thinking, this person was able to save 200K. This person was able to develop processes that saved a department's budget that cut their spend by 200K. Are you seeing the value here that this person is communicating? And then another thing, some people will just have their pictures on there, unless you're in a country that actually doesn't mind if you have because some countries, you have to also look at what's the requirements there for resumes.
Sorry, Lola, can you hear me? We can't see the CV.
You can't see it.
Yeah, we can't see the CV. Yes, we can only see the 60 seconds ATS scan.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Let me share my screen again. I'm going to share I don't think I will share my entire screen before, but can you confirm that you can see it now?
Yes, perfect, perfect.
Thank you very much, Yvonne. Okay, so this is the right way for you to run your CV, and then this is a bad CV example. And I was talking about the layout of this resume. Now, for ATS scanners, you have to think about it like this. An ATS is pretty much a robot. It's a robot. So it's not going to be able to read your beautiful picture and say, oh, this person is a really beautiful. It's a robot, and the robot is designed to read text. So for people who have all these resumes that they go and create on Canva, or that they use some really nice software to, nobody is going to read that. Especially if you're applying to a company that already has a check in place of an ATS, it's not going to be able to read it because the formatting is all wrong. That is one level. Now, the second level is once you format it and you make it very easy for the system to read, now it's looking for impact. So for a job like this is working in startups, by the way. And I was talking about, this is a trusted house sitter. This is a job listing for a senior data analyst. Now, if you scroll down here, you see technical ownership, experimentation and testing, dashboards and reporting, cross-functional collaboration, mentorship and enablement, and all of that. So for this, guys, if you see the ones that are actually highlighted here, proven experience in product, member, or customer analytics, ideally in subscription, marketplace, SaaS, or platform businesses, there's a very high possibility that they have taken keywords from this and they have used this to set up their system. So when you apply, if they did not have like a gateway, for example, then it would be like 500, 1,000 resumes coming to one hiring manager's desk. It's literally impossible. So the easiest way for them to do this is for them to take out certain keywords, like they would take out SQL, they would take out event tracking tools, they will take out visualization and BI and business intelligence tools. They will take out certain keywords and then they would use this to set up the system. So when the system is reading your resume, you want to ensure that your formatting is very easy, that it can pick up these keywords. And then you also want to ensure that you're communicating impact as well, that you also have these keywords as well in your resume. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. And then if for things like this, for if you picture this, these two resumes go into the pool, the first one that's going to get kicked out is this one, because first of all, it can't even read this. It can't read this, but this one is formatted in a way that it understands. Your experience section is separate, your education is separate, and then you can see clearly all of the high impact details that is needed for it to say, this is the candidate I want to shortlist. So generic responsibilities, you want to cancel that out. Fancy graphics, we already touched that. You want to cancel that out. Missing keywords. It is very important that you look for keywords and then you add those keywords to the job, to your resume, because it's going to be looking for that. It's going to be looking for amplitude. It's going to be looking for mixed panel. They're going to be looking for Tableau. But then the reason why I said it's not just about the tools, it's also about the impact, is because even though this will get you past the ATS, once it makes it to the table of a hiring manager, then it's now another question. And the question is, what is the business impact? And that's why you want to communicate in very clear terms what the business impact is. Career gaps as well could be another reason why your resume is kicked out. Say, for example, you haven't done anything for the last 3 years and there's no clear reason why. So usually one of the strategies for that, one of the things I would advise is that, you list like a career gap and then you can say, you could maybe list it out as maybe school or something you were learning something, just so you can fill that career gap. But then even though you get past this level, from the automated aspects, once your resume gets to the table of a hiring manager, they would want to know why. Irrelevant fillers as well. Irrelevant fillers is when some people will just take like this job description and they will just copy it and put it on their resume and say, this is what they did. I've actually seen people like that. I've seen funny resumes that where they would just like go and, their job, they would just copy their job description and they would put it there and they would call that their resume. So you don't want to be one of those people. Then for the resumes that actually get past the scan, we have the ones that have relevant keywords. Yes, relevant keywords that are relevant to the job that was posted. Quantifiable results. Do you remember our lady here and how she quantified her results, where she said she managed cross-functional team of 10 in 3 locations, ranging from entry-level analyst to vice president? She quantified it. And then she also spoke about how she achieved 200K reduction in department overspend by establishing ROI metrics and budget controls to improve priority. So as a hiring manager, I'm already thinking, this person knows how to manage money. I'm seeing the business impacts. Clear career narrative. Your career has to tell a story. It has to make sense, because even though the ATS is looking for a bunch of keywords as well, it also can read context to a certain level. It can tell when there was a major shift. For example, if you used to work in construction before, and then all of a sudden you're applying for a data analyst role. and there's nothing else on your resume that says you did something. So it is very important if you're when you're creating your resume to make it easily scannable, that is a clear career narrative. And if you're one of those people who's thinking, but I'm here to make that transition, I'm completely lost, you're in the right place. Formatting capability. So when you're formatting your resume, like I mentioned, these pictures, first, this one would get kicked out first before it's not even going to be reviewed. As soon as it comes, it's going to get kicked out because the ATS can't read all of this. So you have to ensure it is formatted properly. Industry specific terms. You also want to make sure that you're not being too generic or even generic at all in the setup of your resume. You want to make sure that it is designed for your industry. You cannot use, remember I was talking about NASA and I was also talking about analytics as an example. The requirements for these two industries are different. The requirement is completely different. You cannot be using industry terms that is specific to ed tech. You can't use that resume to apply for NASA or to NASA, even though it is for the same job. It's impossible. And that's why I would always advise, never use one resume to apply to two different jobs. It might seem like it's a lot of work. It actually is. But it is great advice if you are serious about standing out in the market. Looking for a job is a job on its own. But my advice is never use the same resume. That gives you the freedom to customize your resume, to read through job descriptions, and then put in industry-specific terms that can help you stand out. Okay, fantastic. I just want to be sure that you can still hear me. Could you send a thumbs up if you're following? And anyone send a thumbs up if you're following? Send a thumbs up. Fantastic. Okay, fantastic. I see that we have people who are following. Fantastic. So now the question is, how do you build the skills required to stand out? How do you build the skills required to stand out? Now we've spoken about, getting past the ATS. We've spoken about what your resume should look like. Fantastic. But how do you build the skills that you need in order for you to stand out in a market that is saturated? It's a $1 million question. And let me be very blunt. You cannot stand out by following the same 3 online tutorials that everybody else is doing. You cannot stand out with another generic certificate that says you completed a course. This is the bare minimum. It is the price of entry. In order for you to stand out, you need to build skills in a way that creates irrefutable proof. Proof that you don't just know theory, but that you can actually deliver real world experience from day one. And I'm going to show you how you can do it. This is the same system that has helped thousands of our students accomplish results in just a few months. We call it the Learn, Package, and Apply framework. Let me break it down for you. The first thing is you learn the right thing. This is not a random list. Every single career path here, from data analytics to cybersecurity, has been validated against thousands of job postings in the UK, in the US, in Canada. So we're not just teaching you what is interesting, we are teaching you what is in demand and what is hireable. You are learning with a direct line to a job offer. But learning is completely useless if you cannot prove it, which is why we help you package your new skills. This is the 70% of what other training programs completely ignore. So we don't just give you a certificate and give you a new skill. We rebuild your entire professional identity from the ground up. I'm talking your CV, your LinkedIn, your portfolio. We transform them into a compelling story of value that makes hiring managers and ATS systems say yes. You see, the learn aspect is nothing without the packaging aspect. You can learn a career that is in demand today, but if you are lacking in employability, you will still fail. Now, the final part of this is apply. The final step in the LPA is apply. This is where you apply like a machine. However, you're not applying blindly. You are applying with precision. And we are going to show you how you can tailor every single application to bypass the ATS, how to find the hidden jobs that never get posted publicly, and how to generate quality applications that would actually get you responses. So these are not three separate things. This is an integrated engine that is designed for one purpose and one purpose only, to get you a job. All the candidates that you see that walks through Analytics, like Hope, like Judith, whose story I've shared with you, they all applies this framework, and that is what gave them the results that they got. So if you're serious about getting results in the job industry, this is exactly what you need. It's the LPA framework. First, you learn. Secondly, you package yourself in the market and you show up as a candidate who is ready to take charge, and then you apply. But then this now raises a question. What are the career paths that will land me a job? I know we've spoken about this, right? But then it raises another question as well. How do you know that this will actually land me a job? How do you know that this will land me a job? Now, we got all of these career paths that I listed on the previous slide. We got this by doing deep analysis. The first level was analyzing job boards. Now, we did not just look at one job board. We did a 3-layer analysis. So first of all, we scraped data from sites like LinkedIn, Glassdoor, and others in real time to see who is hiring and what they're hiring for. Then we paired this up with World Economic Forum Future of Jobs validation. This is the Future of Jobs report. I'm going to be sharing just like a few reports from this, but if you want to like dive into it, please fill out the attendance form that my colleagues are dropping in the chat section. Now, we align our training with the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs report. This is global 30,000 foot view that tells us which fields are growing and which fields are dying. Like I said, I'll be sharing an excerpt from this. Then we also complement this as well with a regional analysis. And this is the master key. We have done deep research on exact visa pathways in the UK, in the US, in Canada. And then once we paired all of this together, which ones are going to get you sponsorship, which ones are secure for the next couple of years, which one are more likely to get you noticed, which one are companies recruiting for right now, which ones have the highest salary bands right now. It gave us all of this: business analysis, data analysis, data science, all of these amazing career paths. HR analysts, financial, product design, DevOps, and others, 10 career paths have proven to be of high impact. So with these career paths, know that for the next 5 years, you are secure. And then the best part of it is that these are the jobs that are paying the highest salaries today. So if you're thinking, I want to change my life, I want to earn more money, I deserve to earn more money, this is exactly where you need to be at. Now, I want to show you something that most people will probably never see. And this is why you need to also fill out the attendance form again that my colleagues are sharing in the chat section. We're about to round up. So if you have any questions, it would be great for you to start getting ready with your questions. So I'm going to just quickly run you through this. By 2030, that is just 5 years away, 170 million jobs will be created globally. And this is data from the World Economic Future of Jobs report. But here's the kicker. 92 million existing jobs will completely disappear. 92 million existing jobs. Now, I want you to look at the top of this chart. Do you see this? Data engineering. So this leads to different career paths. So when you hear someone is a data engineer, There are different career paths that they can go with. For example, in this case, we've got big data specialists. This is a specialty under data engineering. We've got data warehousing specialists. We've got data engineers. We've got database and network professionals. Under data analytics and data science, we've got AI and machine learning specialists. We've got data analysts and scientists. Under business analysts, we have digital transformation specialists, we have process automation specialists. Under cybersecurity, we have security management specialists, we have information security analysts, specialists as well, and others. So if you choose one of these career paths, it doesn't lock you into one. It actually opens up a world of opportunities. But then I want you to look at the other side of this side of it. Do you see where this purple chart is the highest? Where you see this purple chart peeking out? These are jobs that are going to be automated away. And it's not like in the future, it is already happening. For example, shop salesperson. You know, we now have walk-in stores. I'm sure we all know that, right? Where you don't even have to, no one is even manning it. You just get what you want, you scan and you check out, that's it. Amazon is doing it. So we've now reached a point in society, in the world today, where you don't even have to have a human being behind the counter in order for you to make sales. And this is why more than ever, it is important that you have to be value driven. Otherwise, whatever it is that you're doing right now, if you're not thinking in terms of value, if your process is something repeatable, something that anybody can do, you will be replaced. And that's why these jobs are in high demand. These are the jobs that you will be in for the next 5 years, and you will be 100% rest assured that opportunities will only continue to grow. As a matter of fact, the only thing that will stand between you and growth in these career paths is your ability to think outside of the box. It is your ability to keep on learning, to keep on growing. That is all. Because when it comes to opportunities in this field, this is what is currently moving the world today. Data analytics or data science, we've got business intelligence analysts, sales and marketing professionals, supply chain and logistics specialists, the list goes on and on and on. Like I said, so many opportunities. This is a map for the future. Now, the people who understand this data are making moves right now to position themselves at the top. You know, 10 years ago, this was not a thing. But then again, 10 years ago, was ChatGPT a thing? 10 years ago, was Gemini a thing? You know, you can literally go online, you can go live right now with AI. The other day, I do it maybe like once in 2 days. I'm guilty, I know. But then again, I think about it as, you know, just gaining as much knowledge as you can and learning all of the cool things that I can do with AI. The other day, I was working on a problem on Excel, and I couldn't figure out on Sheets, rather Google Sheets, and I couldn't figure out I had one particular code that just kept messing up. So you know what I did? I just, instead of calling a friend who was a data analyst, I just went online with an AI chatbot and I just shared my screen and we were chatting. I said, can you see my screen? And then we solved the problem together. And then the chatbot would tell me, okay, so I think you should, how about you try this formula, equals to asterisk, D3 with an AI bot. This is stuff that we would do with our moms or with our colleagues, and I was doing it with AI. And that is why now more than ever, it is important that you upskill. If you do not upskill, learn how to work with AI, or and also learn how to drive value using AI, you would easily be replaceable. Now, I want to quickly walk us through something. For those of us who are not familiar with this career path, I want to show you how all of this creates a symphony, all of these roles. So now I want you to take a think about something. Imagine we're building the next big social media app. Let's call it Sparks. Sparks, Spark, Sparks. And it helps people connect over shared hobbies, right? So now let's bring our tech team to life because I want you to, whatever it is that you're thinking, maybe you want to go for cybersecurity, you want to go for business analysis. I want you to start picturing what your role would look like in a social media tech company. Now we're going to start first of all with data engineering. We're going to start with data engineering. So what does a data engineer do in Sparks? Now, before a single user signs up, our data engineer is going to lay the groundwork. Our data engineer is going to build and is going to design and build massive scalable databases that will store every single user's profile, like their posts, their likes, their comments. They would create the data pipeline that would ensure that when our users upload a video in Lagos, it instantly becomes viewable by someone in London. So without our data engineer, we don't even have an app. There's just complete chaos. Now let's move on to our data analyst. What does a data analyst do in Sparks? Now, once we launch, our data analyst is our detective. Our data analyst is the one who is going to enter the data and ask critical questions. They will use SQL to query our database, and they will use tools like Tableau, like Power BI to create reports that will tell us 65% of our users are logging in between 7 p.m. to 10 p.m., or 20% of our users post with hashtags delight arts. They would be the ones who would come up with who would get the insights that would help us understand how our users are using this app so that we can double down on whatever it is that we are doing right. Now, our data scientists. Our data scientists will use the detective work that the data analyst has done. They would write complex algorithms in Python, using machine learning. And they are the reason why your Netflix feed, why you see movies that are recommended for you and you think, I would like to watch it. Your data scientists are the reason why if you like to watch horror movies, when you open your Netflix or you open your Disney or your Prime, you're seeing lots of horror movie suggestions or Marvel suggestions because this is something that you have shown interest in. Your data scientist is the reason why when you open your Instagram or you open your TikTok, you're seeing posts that you actually like. So they are going to build the recommendation engine that analyzes your behavior to show you content that you didn't even know you would like. Now, the business analyst, this is our ambassador, right? Our business analyst is a crucial link between users and coders. So they are the ones who are out there in the field. They are the ones who would hear the creator say things like, I wish I could easily find a writer to collaborate with on my comic book projects, and then the business analyst will take this vague wish and turn it into a technical document for the development team. And that document is going to list why this feature should exist. And maybe it's going to call it like the collaborator finder feature to ensure that we are actually building what our users want, not what we think our users want. Now, the cybersecurity analysts, what do they do in our Spark company? As we grow, we become a target. For example, Meta, X, and other big social media companies, TikTok, are major targets for hackers. So do you think their cybersecurity department is going to be lacking in any way? So for Sparks, our cybersecurity analyst is our paranoid, brilliant guardian. They are constantly running penetration tests, trying to hack our own systems to find weaknesses before the hackers do. Now, let's talk about our HR analyst, right? The HR analyst here The HR analyst is our culture architect. They focus on the most important assets in Sparks, which is the people. They are using data to answer questions like, why is our turnover rate in the data engineering team 25% higher than other departments? What are the key skills that we need to hire for in order to build our AI team next year? So they're a critical part of our company. Now let's move on. Let's look at other critical roles as well. We've got the Agile Projects Manager, who is the one who is going to take what the business analyst submits and take it to the tech team and make this a reality. We have our financial analyst, who is asking the most important question: is Sparks making money, or are we losing money? Is Spark making money, or are we losing money? So our financial analyst would be building the financial models to forecast how much a new premium subscription tier could generate. They would be the ones who are saying, I think that we could actually make more money if we do this, or if we do something like this. And then we've also got people like the product designer as well, who obviously designs the entire experience. We have DevOps engineer, who would ensure that all of this amazing work actually reaches the user without crashing. Your DevOps engineer is the reason why Instagram would push an update and the app doesn't crash on your phone. So this is the reality of a modern tech company. It's not one person just sitting in a basement and coding. It's a symphony of highly specialized, highly paid professionals who are all playing a critical role. So with everything that I just mentioned and the few things I touched on, which one made your heart beat faster? Which one did you think to yourself, hey, I could be here. I could actually drive value in this. Do you see yourself as a data scientist? Do you see yourself as a data analyst? Do you see yourself as a project manager? Do you see yourself as a HR analyst? Where do you see yourself? Now, this brings us to a very important point in our conversation today. All of this might feel overwhelming. With all of these options that you have, how do you know which one is the right path for you? This is too important for you to guess. Your career, your time, your family's future. This deserves a data-driven approach, which is why we created this quiz. Now, my colleagues are going to be dropping this quiz in the chat. They're going to be dropping the link in the chat right now, but I could also drop this link as well. You can take this quiz. You can take this quiz. And with this quiz, it will tell you what would be a great fit for you. Out of all of these fantastic roles I just listed, from cybersecurity to product design, to which one would be a great fit for you. So you want to take the quiz and let us know which would be a fantastic fit for you. I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes to take the quiz, but take the quiz now, and then you can you can share your results in the chat section. Let's know what you were recommended. Was it data analyst? Are you a HR analyst? Are you a project manager? What is that career path that calls to you? We had one person one time who reached out and said that she was in cybersecurity actually, and she said she doesn't feel like it was the right fit for her. And I remember that when we had that conversation, I asked her, I said, did you speak to a career consultant before you joined? And she said no, that she just thought this is the one that she wants because she's always been interested in cybersecurity. But here's the kicker. This lady comes from an accounting background. So when I asked her, tell me about your background, about what you do right now, she said she's a banker. I said, banking and cybersecurity, what is the relationship? And this is why it's very important for you to run tests like this, for you to find out whether or not this is something that really calls to you, because you don't want to spend like 1, 2 months of your life, like this lady in question, before realizing that you're in the wrong path and that you have to take a completely different course. So my advice to you is take out 5 minutes of your time and fill out this quiz for you to find the one that actually calls to you. But once you get your results, please drop your results in the chat section and let us know whether or not it is the perfect fit for you. Okay, fantastic. Right now, if you have decided on a career path to pursue, you have made up your minds that this is what I think would be fantastic for me. You're very sure about it. You want to be a data analyst. You want to be a cybersecurity specialist. You want to be a business analyst. That is a huge first step. But now you're facing the real wall, and it's the one that stops most people. What do employers want from you? We've touched on this a bit, but this is the ultimate catch 22. What do employers want from you? Now, I want one person or a few people, anyone who can answer this question for us in the chat section. Could you tell us, as an employer, what would you want from a hire? What would you want people to show before you employ them? Can anybody answer this question for us? What do employers want from you? And this is where we practice empathy. Remember, we spoke about this, where you put yourself in the shoes of the employer and you ask yourself, if I were an employer, what would make this easier for me? Anybody? Any takers? Anyone wants to answer this? What do employers want from you? Two things, actually. But what are those two things? If you can guess only one, that's fine. Only one or two. Do we have any takers in the house? Skills and experience. Willie, thank you so much. Fantastic. Willie nailed it. Skills and experience. This is what employers want from you. This is what employers want from you. So as someone who is if you're an entrepreneur, if you have a business, what you would want from the person that you bring on board is for the person to have skills. But then skills is not enough. You want the person to be able to demonstrate that they have also implemented this before and it has driven value, which is where experience comes in. So this two combination. So how do you get skills and experience? How do you get it? So now we're getting into the main thing. How can you become a Judith? How can you become a Hope? The first thing is you learn in a project-based environment. What does learning in a project-based environment mean? What does it mean? So the first thing at 10 Analytics is that we're combining two different learning styles. It's really a cheat code. So the right way to learn is not by watching videos and passing multiple choice tests. I mean, for some of us who have taken online courses, I'm sure you've done this before, where you watch videos and then you're just like ticking boxes. Think about it. Would you trust a surgeon who read a textbook but never held a scalpel? Would you? No. You trust a surgeon who has performed the procedure dozens of times. And it's really the same thing with tech. Employers trust candidates who have already built real projects, who have solved real case studies and faced real world problems. And this is the fundamental flaw in most online education. They teach you the what, but they don't give you the how in a context that matters. So we flip the model on the head and we give you self-paced learning material. So this means that you can watch this anywhere, anytime. You can listen to it when you get back from work, while you're trying to put your kids to sleep. You can you can watch this during your free time at work, and then we complement this with a live instructor-led class. So this is where your experts, your facilitators come in, and then you can ask them any questions you have. You can say, oh, I'm trying to figure out how to debug this. It's not really happening. What do you think I'm doing wrong? Oh, I read this, but then I was thinking this would be possible. This is where you now get to rub minds with someone who has done this at the highest level and who is now here to provide that guidance to you. So that is what it means to learn in a project-based environment. When you complement this together, it's like you're driving a car, right? But then instead of just, you go to the driving school and then, you come home and then you really don't practice. But in this case, you have a car, you take your car home with you, you go to your driving school, you learn, and then you come back and you drive around in a park, and you're driving around in your park, where you're not going to hit anyone, any civilians, and you're learning. So everything that you learn there, you're coming back and you're driving and you're learning how to like reverse park and that is the best way for you to learn. That's what I call learning in a project-based environment. Now, before we wrap up today, I want to show you a really amazing story. I've touched on this in the beginning. This is Christian. Christian got a job at the age of 18. One of the most amazing stories that you will hear that came out of 10 Analytics, Christian. And this is because Christian was 18, no degree, no 5 years of experience, just a young man with a lot of potential. And his brother believed in him enough to invest in his future. So Christian started with us in September, and he follows the exact blueprint that I walked you through before, the LPA. So he didn't just learn the skills, he packaged them. He rebuilt his CV, he built a portfolio, he got prepped in our mentorship sessions. Then he applied with precision. He tailored every single application, knowing exactly where to look. And the result is that just 4 months after finishing the program, he landed a job as a data processor analyst. I want you to think about that. Let that sink in just 4 months. At 18, no traditional background, he broke into the tech industry. Why? How did he do it? An industry where it's hard enough for someone in their early 20s, in their mid-20s, in their late 20s to break in. And someone who was 18 years, who doesn't have a lot of transferable skills, like someone who is 25 and making a pivot, he broke in. He did this because he had a portfolio of projects that showed he could do the job. This is what we mean when we say we are a bridge. Christian crossed that bridge, and he is living proof that the old rules no longer apply. It's not like the days of our parents back then. It's different right now, thanks to technology. So long as you are ready to step in, you will see results. There are also like super amazing stories, like Martin, who has a background in chemistry and operations management, Pavel, who was a teacher in Cameroon, and on paper they had nothing to do with data analytics, but these two people had one thing in common. They learned through project-based learning. So they didn't just get a certificate, they got their hands dirty with real data, real projects. They built proof. And now Martin is a pathology data analyst with the NHS in the UK, and he's on a full visa sponsorship. There's also Pavel as well, who is now a healthcare data and reporting analyst in Arizona, USA. So from a teacher and an operations manager to sponsored data professionals in top healthcare systems. This is not a coincidence. It's a pattern. And this is what happens when you stop learning, just learning, and then you actually start doing. The project-based environment is what gave them the experience employers are desperately looking for. Now, what skills do you need in order for you to be employable in today's world? This is the major question, isn't it? What do you need? Now, if you're looking at business analysis, and this is for someone who is, maybe you're not a hardcore coder, but you're brilliant at strategy, at communication, and getting things done, then this is for you. The business analyst is a translator. So you're the bridge between the executives with the money and the developers with the skills. So we're going to be teaching you tools like ChatGPT for analysis, map processes, Master Agile, and Scrum. So you're going to be the one who will be turning a CEO of Visionaries vague idea into a step-by-step plan that actually works. A very interesting track that pays fantastic and amazing in different parts of the world. And then we also have Agile Project Manager as well. So this is if you don't want to plan the work, but you want to run the entire show, then you are an Agile Project Manager. You are the conductor of an orchestra. So you get certified in Scrum. We're going to be teaching you tools like Jira and Confluence. You're going to be learning, you're going to learn to report on the metrics that executives actually care about. You're going to be the reason why multi-million, billion-dollar projects get launched on time. This is how you command salaries like 53K in the UK, in Canada, like 97K, in the US, like 108K on average. On average. And I want to mention something real quickly. We have people who would walk into our doors, and you typically what you would think is that when this person gets a job, they would be getting a job as maybe an intern or something, but then they just go straight into mid-level managerial roles because of how they were able to package themselves, which means that they are able to command even higher salary bands. So you see that packaging is entirely up to you. If you know how to talk, if you know how to sell yourself, if you look good on paper and you can walk in and own the room, then nothing is impossible for you. Really, the sky is the limit. Now, let's talk about data engineering. Now, if you want to go for this track, you are an architect. You are the one who would use pipelines, using tools like Python, like SQL, like Airflow. You would be the most valuable behind the scenes genius, because without you, there's literally no data for anyone to analyze. So in this track, we'll be teaching you introduction to data engineering. We'll be teaching you how to use ChatGPT and Copilot. We'll be teaching you how to build custom ETL pipelines, databases, APIs, web scraping, you name it. Then we've also got data scientists as well. Now, as a data scientist, you're the one, if you remember, I mentioned it when you go on your Netflix, you go on your Instagram, data scientists are the ones who are responsible for your addictive content. So you would be the one who would be building things like this. You are a futurist. We're going to be teaching you machine learning. We're going to be teaching you computer vision and AI. You're not just going to be reporting on the past. You'll be building the models that predict the future. You're going to be creating product recommendations. You're going to be creating fraud detection systems. You're going to be creating tools that actually predict what people want before they even know they want it. So with this track, you're going to be learning tools like Excel, like Tableau, like SQL, like ChatGPT, and others. Next, we have the data analysts. Now, this is your entry point to a six-figure career, but really, all of them are. Now, under this track, we're going to be teaching you Excel, Power BI, SQL, Tableau. You're going to be the one who will be telling the company why sales dropped and where their best customers are. You do not need a fancy degree for any of these tracks I've just listed. You only need curiosity and our blueprint. And in just 8 months, you can go from zero to hero, just like that. Then we also have the financial analyst as well. I would call the financial analyst and the HR analyst the two most underestimated roles in tech. Now, the financial analyst is like the company's crystal ball. You are not just an accountant. You use tools like Excel, like Power BI, like SQL to build financial models, to run valuations, and tell the company exactly where to invest millions of dollars. In a nutshell, you are the money man or the money woman. So you're not just counting the money, you're dictating how we can make more of the money. And we're teaching you the entire framework. This is how you become indispensable. Now, with the HR analyst track, which is the secret sauce to a company's culture, you use data to answer the most important questions. Who should we hire? Why are our best people leaving? How do we build happier, more productive teams? He used tools like Power BI, like SQL to build dashboards that influence every hiring and promotion decision. So you are the guardian of the company's most important asset, which is, can you guess? The people. Now we also have cybersecurity analysts. The cybersecurity analyst is the most paranoid, valuable, and recession-proof person in the room. A cybersecurity analyst is a digital bodyguard. And we're going to be training you in penetration testing. We're going to be training you on threat detection, on ethical hacking. You're going to learn how to use tools like Splunk, like Burp Suite to find weaknesses before criminals do. A single security breach can cost a company millions. And a cybersecurity analyst's job is to make sure that never happens, which is why you are paid so well for it. Now, this is for the builders, the ones who look at the process and think, I can automate that. That is DevOps engineering. This is the apex predator of the tech world. So you're the one who is thinking in you're the one who is building the invisible engine that powers companies like Amazon, companies like Netflix. And we're going to teach you the Holy Trinity. You're going to be learning things like CI or CD pipelines. You're going to be learning Docker. You're going to be learning how to automate everything in the cloud using AWS and GCP. You are the reason as a DevOps engineer that apps can handle millions of users without crashing. You become a force multiplier. Now, for this track, this is not an entry-level role. This is like a pinnacle, and your salary reflects that as well. So if you're thinking about getting deep into this track, if this is something that you're really passionate about, then what are you waiting for? And then finally, for the creatives, for the people who care about how things look and feel, we have product design. This is the architect of human emotion. You are the reason people love or hate an app because you are the one who designs the experience. So we're going to teach you how to use tools like Figma, how to conduct user research, how to build beautiful and intuitive interfaces. You're going to learn how to use AI tools like Midjourney and others for visual ideation. So as a product designer, you will be able to turn complex problems into simple, elegant, usable solutions. So if this is something that if you've ever looked at an app and just thought, this can be better, the UI of this, the design, the interface can be better, then this is certainly a track that is designed for you. Now, for every one of these tracks, classes happen on Saturday, live classes happens in the morning between 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. UK time, and then in the evening, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. UK time. It's actually 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. MST. I'm going to say that again. Saturday live classes happen across all the courses, product design, cybersecurity, business analysis, and others in the morning between 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. UK time. And then in the evening, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. UK time. That's 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. MST. Then self-paced. Self-paced, watch me do it videos. You have access to those anytime, any day. You can watch all your recordings whenever you want to at your leisure. So all of these classes, in case you miss the morning class, if you can't make the evening class as well, it is also recorded so that you can watch it. You never lose access to it because we know that you're busy. We know you have lives. Your kids are in school, you've got a really busy job, and you're thinking, how do I transition? So we try and make everything as easy as possible for you. So that's it. For the product design, it has a learning timeline of 3 months in class and then 1 month internship. But every other track that I have listed is 6 months learning in class and then a 2 months internship. So the total learning timeline for all the other tracks is 8 months. And then for product design, that is 4 months. So amazing. Now, I'd like you all to start thinking already, what course do you want to go for? Do you want to go for cybersecurity? Do you want to go for business analysis? Whatever it is, but you're taking that step in 2025 before the bell rings, and before you know it, we're in 2026. But to answer a very important question, if I learn a new skill, if I become a cybersecurity specialist, if I become a business analyst, how do I gain experience? That is why we have the first level, which is to build a portfolio. Remember, we spoke about this. We're going to help you with this. We're going to help you with the packaging aspect, with the employability aspect. So you're not doing this alone. So we're going to be helping you build a portfolio. But then again, for you to build a portfolio, you actually need projects. So how do we do this? By providing you with a 2 month internship with Amdari. Now, another value of this is that you can also list Amdari and Tenalytics on your resume and your LinkedIn. So we always tell our people, once you get started with Tenalytics, immediately just go on your LinkedIn and list yourself as a consultant. So don't list yourself as, oh, I'm a student in Tenalytics. No, list yourself as a consultant. And the same thing with Amdari as well. So which means that you now have, for someone who maybe does not have any Western experience at all, maybe coming from Ghana or Nigeria, and now you've listed Analytics. So now you have Canadian experience, and then you've now listed Amdari as well. So now in the UK as well. So you're covered on all aspects. But then you must be wondering, what if I list this and I start applying for jobs? It's on my LinkedIn, it's on my resume. What about employers? Employers are going to call, they're going to want to speak to these people. What about references? You're covered for that as well. So we will also provide you with a reference when you need it. Now, what does it look like before you join Tenalytics? And for those of us who are job hunting here seriously, I'm sure we've experienced this. You've been ghosted. You do not have a portfolio. If you do, it's not all that really. It could be better. You're feeling stuck. You've got interview panic. When it's time for you to get into an interview, you're thinking, oh my goodness, what am I going to say? I'm going to say the wrong thing. The art of just even turning on your camera and talking to people itself, it really is a skill because not everybody is comfortable with that, even virtually. And then for some of these interviews, you actually have to go there in person and have conversations with these people. So even though you have the skill, you have the experience on the interview level, it could be a complete fail. And this is also something that we have considered. And it's why we also provide you with interview prep sessions, which means that whenever you have an interview that you're going for, you can always reach out and say, hey, I have an interview. And then we'll get on a call with you and we would show you the best way for you to position yourself. We will give you tips, what you can say to impress the employers. We're actually having an interview in Analytics the other day, and one of the candidates asked her a question and said, what do you think about analytics and how can we improve in certain aspects? And this is a role that she was applying for. And you know what she said? She said, I don't know, I haven't really checked it out. But you're applying, you're applying for it. You're saying that you want to manage a certain aspect. And this is information that is public knowledge. You can go on the company's website and get this. So this is part of what the interview prep helps you iron out. When you've done all the hard work, customizing your resume to ensure that it lands, it gets past the ATS system. Now you've gotten the interview. We have to ensure that you do not mess it up and you show up as your highest self. And then there's also the generic application aspect of it, which is where your application does not have a proper strategy. Now, after 10 analytics, you will become a strategist. You will understand how to deal targeted outreach, how to stand out. You will build a beast portfolio. You will have interview confidence, because when you go through these interview prep sessions and then we tell you, hey, so this company, they're looking to close a contract right now with this company. So how about you tell them, you've identified certain areas where they could optimize their partnership, or, areas where they could optimize their audience, or this, or blah, blah, blah. And then you're now coming to the interview, coming from a problem-solving perspective. There's no way you're not going to win in the market. There's no way you will not get multiple offers. And that is why I said 10 analytics is the bridge. You learn, you package, you apply, and then you get the job. Now, our next cohort gets started on December 6th, but registration closes December 3rd. It gets started December 6th, but registration closes December 3rd. So how do you become one of the people who will be in the new cohort? So we actually have a discount right now that is running on all our programs. All programs are currently $1,000. And we have a full discount, a 50% discount right now on all programs. So you pay $500 and then you can register as a business. We can register with the business analysis cohort, data analytics, data science, data engineering. However, this is only available for the first 50 people. The first 50 people who choose to take advantage of this discount. Another reason why we're running this discount, or the reason why we're running it, is because we recently completed 5 years. That was in August. So we thought, how do we give back to the community? And the best time for us to start our anniversary discount was the end of the year. So if you're ready to lock this in, going into 2026, you're ready to step in and take complete charge of your career trajectory, this is it. This is the moment that makes or breaks you in 2026. Now, for those of you who would listen and would probably say, whatever, you're going to remember this in the next couple of months when the people who decided to go forward are now sharing their stories on LinkedIn and tagging 10 analytics. And by the way, you can just go on LinkedIn and write 10 analytics and see all of the amazing reviews from people who have walked through our walls and gotten fantastic results with it. So if you are ready to lock in your career path right now, this very moment, this is when you take that decision for yourself. So I'm just quickly going to show you what this looks like when you're registering, just so that you can walk through this process with me and we can register together. What do you think about that? All right, so when you click on the link that my colleagues are dropping right now in the chat section for you to register, you can just pick whatever course it is that's calling to you. Is it data analytics? Is it business analysis? Is it full stack scientist? Whatever it is that is calling to you, you can pick that course, and you can see that there's already a $500 discount that is applied to all the courses except product design, which is actually going for $300. It's $600 right now because it's 4 months in total. And then you can get it at a 50% discount as well and book this for $300. $300 for the product design course. So I'm just going to show you quickly what it looks like if you're registering for, say, full stack data scientist. So you click on buy now. And then when you do that, you can see a button for you to enroll now. You can see another button for you to download your brochure. So whatever it is you want to do here, you want to click on this button. This is the main thing, the enroll now button. Now, when you come here, you're going to be asked to create an account. So I'm just going to quickly come here and generate a random email. Okay. But you don't want to do that. You want to use an email that you actually have access to. I'm generating a random email just for the purpose of this test to walk you through what this looks like. So please use an email that you have access to so that you can always come back. You always have access to your account. So I'm going to put in my email address here. I'm going to put in my phone number, and then I'm going to create my account. Now I have created my account. The next level is for me to select my cohort. So you can see that my 50% discount has already been applied automatically. So this is already 50% off. So if you want to start with the December cohort, you can select that. If you want to start with the January cohort, I would actually suggest that you just get started with the December cohorts. Because you want to start something before 2026 runs out. And this is before 2026 comes around. This is the best time for you to lock in. I've always found that when you're creating New Year resolution, that you just start. Because if you wait and say next year, January, I'm going to, when that time comes, you will find excuses. So the best way for you to do it is just get started. All right, so you can also pay in installments as well. You can pay in a full installment, you can pay in 2 monthly installments, in 4 monthly installments, or in 3 monthly installments. So whichever one works for you. But the most important thing is that you lock down the discounts. That is the most important thing. So you can come here, you see that I have my personal information here now. You can see my preferred cohort. You can see my monthly installments. Now, note on this section, you can see when my next payment is going to happen. So today is November 29th. This is my first payment of $125. My next payment is December 29th, January 28th, February 27th. So you can also edit the date. So for people who would say, oh, but I only get paid, in the middle of the month or the end of the week, whatever that looks like for you, you can always edit the date of the next payment. So if I say I want to make my first payments today, but I want my next payments to be in January, on the 1st of January, you can see that that has changed the details, my third payment, my fourth payment. So if you have any, if you're very specific about your payday and you want to edit that just so you can have full control going forward, this is the best time for you to do it. Now I'm going to come here and confirm that my information is correct. And then I'm going to pay now. Very direct, very, very straightforward. And then once I get to this page, this is where you put in your card details. So I'm just going to use a test card for this. I'm going to put in the month, and then I'm going to put in my CVC. Oh, oops. Okay, put in my CVC as well. Okay. Just 3 letters, and just put a test name on the card. This is a test card, like I said before. And then I'm going to select my residence, whatever that looks like for you. and then I'm going to click on pay. And that's pretty much it. I've made my payment. Very direct, very straightforward. And now that my payment is successful, I'm going to go to my dashboard. And the next step would be for me to verify my email. So I'm just going to come back to this. Remember our temporary email. So you can see a couple of things have happened here. I've gotten my verified mail sent to me. I've gotten my account password sent to me. So you want to also check this as well. And then you can also see that my payment has been successful, installment of 1 out of 4. And this is why I said you want to use an email that you actually have access to do your registration. So I fetched my codes now, my verification code, and that's it. I'm done with my registration. So now I need to provide other details to complete my profile. Some people would make payments and would not provide your detail here so that your registration can be complete. So you put in your gender, you put in your preferred time, and this is based off whatever works for you. Some people would say like, oh, I've got classes, or I've got work, I work in the morning on Saturdays, I'm not sure I can make the live. So whatever it is, if it's the morning class or the evening class, whatever that looks like for you, you want to select that here. Then you also want to select how you found out about Tenalytics. This is fantastic data. You want to update your email preference. So if your email that you use to register is different from the email that you would use to access masterclass or sessions. When I say access, it means, for example, your Google Mail. If the email that you're going to use to join your classes is different from the one you use to register, you want to specify it here. So I'm just going to put in the same email as well that I used to register, or you can just put in NA if it's the same thing, which is not applicable. You can put in NA if it's the same email. If it's different for you, you can also put that in as well, whatever that looks like. Okay, now you can also put in what made you register with Analytics. I'm just going to say they are amazing, because we are. And then you also select how much time you want to commit weekly to this. It could be 7 hours, it could be 10 hours, it could be 4 hours, whatever that looks like for you. And that is it. You complete your setup. And we're in. And we are in. So another thing that you also have to do once you get into your dashboard is for you to complete a checklist. And we have designed this checklist so that we can collect, or so that you can be fully ready for your class. For courses like cybersecurity, like business analysis, there are tools that you have to install for it. So once you get started with your onboarding, you're going to see a guide that will show you what you need to download, what you need to get in order for you to be ready to get started with the cohort. If you have any questions, if you have any issues whatsoever with this, you can always get help. You can chat with support and say, hey, I need help with this, and someone will help you out. We also have our support specialists who would also be calling you as well, just to ensure that you are well catered for, that you've got everything that you need in order for you to get started. One thing I would say about Analytics is that we are very community driven and very focused on our people. So if you have any problem, if you need support in any way, there's always someone for you to reach out to. And this is also reflected as well in the way we structure our programs. We have a pod system, which means that you are not learning alone. You are learning with a group of people who are learning with you. So at any point, if you need support, if you need help, you can always reach out to your facilitator. You can reach out to your DA. You can reach out to support, or you can reach out to your community of people who are also there to help you grow and help you succeed. So I hope I have been able to show you guys how you can complete your registration. If you have any questions, you can start getting ready with your questions since we are rounding up now. Okay, so remember, guys, you want to lock down your discount because I'm not sure when next another discount is going to come around. So this is the best time for you to get started, for you to lock down your space and step into 2026 with full confidence and, to take over space. That's what we're doing in 2026. We are taking over space. No excuses. We're going to be noticed by recruiters. Our profiles are going to be amazing. Our skills are going to be on point. If you have a goal that you want to accomplish and you've told yourself, oh, in 2026 by June, I want to be in a job that pays me a certain amount of money. This is the best time for you to get started. So if you want to pay in tranches, you can pay $125 monthly for the next 4 months. Remember, it's a 50% discount, and after this, it goes back to its normal price. So you want to lock down your discounts. The 50% discount is for the first 50 people who register. So if you're not one of them, then once you're registering, you'd be paying the normal price. So I just want to remind us again, 2026 is around the corner. This is the best time for you to take a life-changing step. This is the best time for you to make a life-changing decision and actually get started on that new career path that you've been eyeing for quite some time. Okay, so one more thing for you to note, we'll fill out the attendance form. I'm going to be sharing this slide with everyone just in case you missed anything. But we've also got some really amazing stories from people like Ikmat, who was a full stay-at-home mom, and then she moved to the UK for her master's in public health. She joined our data analytics program, and part of what she was looking for was sponsorship. And in January 2024, she landed a job as an information analyst with the NHS, and it came with a full sponsorship. So you can be Ikmat, you can be Judith, you can be Hope, you can be Christian, you can be all of these amazing people who have come into analytics and accomplished fantastic results. All you have to do is take the first step into a new career path for yourself. Now, Tenalytics also got into the Alberta Catalyzer Velocity Program in October 2024. And you get this slide, you can read all about our adventure on Tech Cabal. We are also accredited by the ACDT, the American Council of Training and Development. And again, we get this slide, you can read more about 10 Analytics. So I'm sure we've got some questions. I hope we do. Who would like to go first? You can raise your hand. Wow, Kingsley, that was fast. Okay, Kingsley, I'm going to ask you to unmute. Can you speak?
Hello. Yeah,
Hi,
thank you
Kingsley.
so much. Yeah, thank you so much, Lola, for the beautiful presentation. For me, I want to transition from banking to data analytics. I've chosen that path. Okay, that's what I want to do. But is it possible? My question is it possible to speak with probably one of the facilitator of data analytics? Because I need to get some more insights and also computer compatibility and my computer, the compatibility for the program. I don't know the current computer I'm using, if it's compatible, probably the software and all that we're going to be using. Because I intend to start in December, but if mine is not so, it means I'm going to start January. Okay. So I just need to speak with someone to get more insights and also make a decision.
Okay, so Kingsley, what you'd be looking at then is speaking to one of our career consultants. And we can absolutely get you in a clarity session. But just so I can get someone to follow up with you, can you drop your email, your name, your phone number in the chat section so I can ensure someone follows up with you?
Oh, so
What
the
do you,
session is supposed to be clarity session. I actually registered for that, but When I logged into that, I think it was through Google Meet, and I said somebody saying that this is the first time and the rest, and they say you're supposed to have taken one of our initial programs. So I thought probably that was the wrong one, and I had to log out. So I actually did that before. I didn't know that that was the right program I'm supposed to log into.
Okay, maybe that was a misunderstanding, but you can totally register for a clarity session, and then you can get into a one-on-one conversation with a career consultant where you can lay out all of your questions and get someone who would advise you on everything that you need. But just so we avoid, what happened before, do you want to drop your details so I can ensure someone follows up with you?
Yeah, my name.
Yeah, so you can just drop that in the chat section if you don't mind. Your name, your
Okay.
email address, your phone number, and I'll have one of my colleagues give you a call so we can, have a one-on-one with you and find out what you need. What do you think about that?
Yeah, perfect.
Fantastic. Thank you, Kingsley. Do you have any other questions?
No, I'm fine. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Kingsley. Do we have anyone else who has a question? You can raise your hand. Any questions? Okay. I made my first installment payment earlier in October to join the December cohort and currently not on this 50% discount. Am I still eligible for the discount? And the discounts, okay. iPhone, I'm not sure what your name is, but uh, I'm not even surprised with this question. So what we can do is you can send an email to finance, and then we can have a conversation there. Yes, iPhone. So my colleagues will pick it up with you and have a conversation and see what we can do about that. So you can again send a message. You either send an email to finance or you can just chat with support and someone will follow up with you to answer all your questions, iPhone. All right. Thank you very much, Ubong. Okay, Kingsley, I've gotten your details. Thank you for sharing. All right. Do we have anyone with any questions? Any other questions in the house? Any questions before we call it a day? It seems like everyone is tired. Okay, is there a session at February, please? So I'm not sure what this means. When you say, is there a session, do you mean, is there a cohort starting in February? Yeah, well, naturally, but then the discount would not extend there. So this discount is only running if you join the December or the January cohort. So if you want to lock down at the 50% discount, this is the best time for you to lock down. Ikenna, is your training or certification recognized globally? So while yes, the answer to that question is yes, this is the wrong question, Ikenna. This is definitely not the question that you should be asking, especially after this masterclass. Remember, we are shifting away from this mindset of being certification focused because the reality is that employers do not care about your fancy certificates. So while, yes, it is recognized globally, employers do not care. The only thing employers care about is how you can show value. So I want to see that you have a portfolio that shows that you have actually put these skills that you have into use, that you have put that you have experience to take my company from, maybe 26% to 40%, depends on what that looks like for me. So the right question is, if I join this program, can I build up enough capital to show that I can do what I say I can do? That is what you should be asking. Value capital, that is the focus, not whether or not the certification is recognized globally, because that is a trap. You've got Coursera, you've got Udemy, you've got so many amazing platforms that you can go and get a certificate from. But then employability is a big aspect. So if you are lacking in that, then everything else falls through the crack. Can I attend both sessions for the live class? You have to attend either the morning session or the evening session, John. So you have to select which one you would be joining. Can I start paying now instrumentally and start by January and still be entitled to the discount? Yes. You can start paying now. If so long as you lock it down, you can see that I also put down what that would look like, which is $125 dollars monthly for the next 4 months. If you choose to make your payment and pay, in 4 months, that's how much you're going to be paying. So if you want to pay in 2 payments, if you want to pay in 3, if you want to make it 4 payments, whatever that looks like, lock down your discount now, because this is not going to be available for the February cohort. And in the next couple of days, once we get to December 3rd, this is closing. And then before December 3rd, once we actually hit the mark on the number of people, this would also be closing as well. So really, it really depends on you. The ball is in your court. Okay, do we have any other takers? Any questions? I'm just going to quickly look through the comment section to see if we have any. Okay. Okay, I don't think we do. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. It really has been an amazing, fantastic session with everyone. Thank you for joining us. On behalf of my colleagues and myself, it was amazing having you here with us. So we wish you a good day, depending on what time it is, if it's morning, afternoon, evening, in your time zone. And then we'll be looking forward to seeing you as well in our cohort. So if you're joining the December cohort, I know that you're ready to take charge and to step into 2026 and fully own it. If it's January, you still fall into that bracket, but whatever it is that you do, make a decision and make it fast. All right. Thank you so much. Please enjoy the rest of your day, afternoon, or evening. Bye, everyone.